The Secure Act 2.0 is out, making major changes to retirement plans, over 100 changes on 4,000 pages of law. How do those apply to you? We're going to talk about 10 things of those 100 things that I think are the most important. And if you stick around to the end, I'll show you where to get this, which is what important issues should I consider regarding changes made by the Secure Act 2.0. It's a double-sided comprehensive list to help you figure this thing out. Let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Nick Davis, founder of Brindle and Bay Wealth Management. I'm here to show you how to create the next chapter with calmness and clarity. And if you like our stuff, please consider subscribing and hit the notification button so that it tells you when new videos come out. The first thing that everybody's raving about is required minimum distributions have been pushed out. So required minimum distributions is the minimum amount that you need to start taking out of 401ks, 403bs, IRAs. Previously, when you turned 70 and a half. Then in 2019, that was changed to age 72. And now there's a new set of rules. So if you were born 1951 to 1959, your start date is age 73. And if you were born after 1960 or after, your start date is 75. So a point of clarity is that if you turned 72 years old in December of 2022, well then your start date was still age 72. However, if your birthday was in January of 2023 or after, the entire year of 2023, there is no new people, there aren't any new people starting required minimum distributions because for you, your age is now 73. So if you're just turning 72 in the year 2023, you won't take a required minimum distribution. You'll actually wait until you are 73 years old. And if you are, again, born 1960 or later, then you won't wait until you're 75 years old. So will this be helpful? Probably the majority of people are already taking required minimum distributions just by nature of them being retired and spending their money. However, it will be helpful for those people that are doing Roth conversions. Typically, they do it from the time they stop working until they turned required minimum distribution age. So now we have this valley, so to speak. So we have high income, and then we get a lower income level until we turn on Social Security, or that we have to take required minimum distributions. Well, it used to be 70 and a half. Then it was 72. Now it's 73 and 75. So this can open up a bigger window for people to do some tax planning. Number two, penalties for missing a required minimum distribution have been lightened. So they were 50%, a whopping 50%. So that means if you messed up your required minimum distribution, if it was supposed to be $30,000 coming out of that account and you only took $25,000, then you'd have a $2,500 penalty. Moving forward, that penalty is now 25%. And if you fix it, they're going to reduce that down to 10%. Not a big fan of penalties. Try not to make those types of mistakes. However, reducing them, probably a good thing. Number three, there's more ways around the 10% penalty. So the 10% penalty is if you try to take money out of your IRAs or 401ks or 403bs before you are 59 and a half in most cases. Well, to get money out, you used to be able to have a couple of exemptions. Like, for example, if you were buying a first-time homeowner, you can take up to $10,000 out of your IRA. Or if you had a qualifying medical expense or you're paying for higher education. And that was it. Well, moving forward, they've added some other ways to get around that penalty. So one significant way is if you're a victim of a disaster. Okay, so therefore you'll get around the 10% penalty. If you're a victim of domestic abuse, they will allow you to take up to $10,000 out without the 10% penalty. They're very broad in their definition of what abuse is. It'll be interesting to see, if they have to look into enforcing, certain definitions. But the definition is pretty broad. An interesting way around the 10% rule moving forward is a family emergency rule. So you can take up to $1,000 out of your qualified accounts if you have a family emergency. They've broadly defined that, and I'll read it to you. It says, unforeseeable or immediate financial needs relating to necessary personal or family emergency expenses. So it seems like it could be just about anything, right? Now, you can't do it, unlimited. You have to wait 3 years or pay back that $1,000 before you can do it again. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments if you think $1,000 is just going to get blown through really quickly. Do you think it's going to help people? Do you think they should have done more? Will it help you? Possibly. Now, the next couple of points have to do with Roth election. So the Secure 2.0 is really big on Roth IRAs and Roth treatment of money. So number 4 is no required minimum distributions on Roth 401ks. Prior to this, you had required minimum distributions on Roth 401ks, but you didn't have required minimum distributions on Roth IRAs. So it was an easy workaround. People would just roll their Roth 401ks out and into a Roth IRA so they could get around the minimum distributions. So they took that rule away, so no longer will you have to pay required minimum distributions on your Roth 401k. Number 5 is new account types. SEP Roth IRA, simple Roth IRA. So SEPs and simples are typically retirement plans for self-employed people or small employers, and it allows a larger amount of money to be tucked away than typical traditional IRAs or traditional, just a regular Roth IRA. Well, you couldn't directly contribute to a Roth as a SEP or a simple. So what people would do is they would just put the money into the SEP IRA, and then they would do a mega or just a backdoor Roth conversion. They would sign a piece of paper that would then convert that over and be sent to their Roth IRA, just some extra paperwork. This eliminates that extra paperwork. There's no longer a need to do that. You would be able to directly contribute to a SEP Roth IRA or a SEP simple IRA, simple Roth IRA. Number 6, 529 to Roth. 529 plans are college planning plans. You pay your taxes on your money. You open up an account for little Johnny to go to college someday. Your money grows tax deferred as long as it's coming out for education. There's no taxes, no penalties. However, if Johnny doesn't use it and you want to spend that on a Corvette, you are subject to taxes and penalties. So they're now allowing 529s to transfer directly into Roth IRAs with a handful of some pretty serious rules. So rule number 1 is the account has to be 15 years old. So you can't just have a 5-year-old account. This has to be an older account. So it has to be at least 15 years old. The beneficiary has to be the same person for the Roth as for the 529. So that means that the Roth has to be for Johnny. Now, that brings up a question as to whether or not people are going to be able to change the beneficiary, which I don't know. As of this time, we don't know, and that will be something that I'm sure that people will be asking for guidance on. Because if that's the case, it'd be pretty cool because you could just change the beneficiary to your own name if it was your account that you opened up originally, and then you could put that into your Roth. The other rule is that you have to have earned income. So if you don't have earned income, or the beneficiary doesn't have earned income to be specific, then you can't do it. Okay? And that's the same rule as if you wanted to put money into a Roth IRA directly, which brings you to another rule, which is you're limited to whatever the max contribution is for that year for IRAs. So if the max contribution in that year is $6,500, well, then you can only do $6,500. And then the final rule, there's more rules, I'm not being exhaustive here, but the one that everybody's talking about is that it's limited to $35,000. So it's not like you can do this with this super huge amount of money. However, it might be helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments if you think this is helpful. I think it's probably going to help a lot of people clean up some of those smaller accounts that we've seen over the years that they just don't know what to do with because they don't want to have those penalties or taxes. Number 7, employer match can now be Roth. Maybe you knew this, maybe you didn't, but prior to this year, you could not have your employer match be a Roth elected salary deferral. It had to be traditional 401k. Well, now your employer match can be elected as a Roth, which means you'll pay taxes on that money now, just like you would if you put money into a Roth IRA. However, the question that you might ask is, should you put more money in Roth? And that is a very individual question. I answer or try to bring clarity to that question in another video about account types, meaning am I using the right account type? And I'll link to that video here so you can take a look if that applies to you. Number 8, catch-up contributions for high earners must be Roth. So people use their additional contributions to their 401ks as a way to reduce taxes, especially high income earners, because they don't pay taxes on that money now, and maybe in the future they won't have as high of a tax bill because they're high income earners. They're losing the ability to take that additional $7,500 for 2023 on top of the money they put away in their regular plan and cause their tax bill to be lower. So if they want to do that now, those catch-ups are going to have to be Roth. And it may not be a good thing for that person. It just takes away some of the flexibility. Now, you're considered high income if you earn $145,000 a year, if you're in the top 20% of income earners, or if you own 5% or more of the company. So some give and some take. Number 9, speaking about those catch-up contributions, they're increasing catch-up contributions to IRAs, 401ks, and all of those retirement plans. So most specifically, that applies to most people would be the IRA and the 401k. So the IRA, you can contribute your normal amount, $6,500 in this given year. And then if you're over 50 years old, you could contribute an additional $1,000. It's never changed. It's been $1,000 the entire time. Now it's going to be adjusted for inflation. So you'll have $1,100 one year, the next year maybe $1,200. The point is that additional catch up is going to keep increasing based on inflation every single year. Not necessarily a bad thing. And then the 401k contribution catch up is $7,500 for 2023. And in this case, it'll actually have a specific situation where you could make it $10,000. So beginning in the year 2025, if you are 60, 61, 62, or 63, during those years, so after 2025 and after, $10,000 or more is the catch-up. So it's slated for that right now. It's going to take effect, but as we get closer to 2025, I'm sure they'll bring some more guidance on that. So that just means there's going to be a little bit more to pay attention to in terms of ways that you're going to be prioritizing how you save. And number 10, new inherited account election for spouses. Spouses who inherit IRAs or 401ks from their deceased spouse typically have only 2 ways of treating that. They can treat that as though it is their own IRA, which is the way most people do it, and they can then not take required minimum distributions until their own age. And that gives them a little bit more flexibility than the other way, which could be the way that non-spouses inherit to IRAs, which they're treated as inherited IRAs. And what that does is it gives them a different tax table that is less favorable. So when they take the RMDs out, maybe it's a higher RMD. Well, now there's a third option. So those were the 2. The third option is they could elect to treat the account as if the person had never passed away and base it on their age. So this will come into play when a spouse is younger and passes away before the older spouse. So imagine that she's 65 and he is 60, and her required minimum distribution would be at 73 because of the new laws, and his would be at 75 because of the new laws. Well, because she's 5 years older and she could be taken off of his age, she could be 80 years old because that's when he would have been turning 75, and that's when the beginning date would begin. Now, will she take advantage of that? Who knows? That's a lot of extra years to cause an account to go up and then to have to take a larger RMD, and maybe most people end up spending that anyway. But what it does offer is some flexibility to do more tax planning, right? More years where you're not forced to take that money out. So just some more things to be thinking about. Hey, there's over 100 changes with Secure 2.0. Lots more coming because today we only talked about 10 of those things. If you want to get that flowchart to help you think through your own changes, in the video description, I've got that there. You can download that. It just poses several questions you can ask yourself, and you can just check off to see which one of those you're going to have to attack. Look forward to seeing more information as this Secure 2.0 rolls out over the next couple of years. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you'd like to see the way that we help people to create calmness and clarity for their next chapter of life, take a look at us at brindleandbay.com. Again, thanks for watching the videos. Please remember to subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you are notified every time a new video comes out.